Oh, YouTube, what's really good? My name is Vivid, and I am incredibly excited because there are two new Pokemon in the Crown Tundra that I'm just way more excited about than any of the other Pokemon we got, and those are Regieleki and Regidrago. Now, if you look around online, you'll see a lot of people talking pretty poorly about these Pokemon, but that changes today. Don't get me wrong, Regieleki and Regidrago both have really shallow move pools, but I don't think they need deep move pools to be diverse Pokemon, and we're going to discuss that. So I have a few quick plugs that I want to get out of the way before we actually get into the video, and the first one is that you already know we have the Spooky Season Halloween Banger t-shirt. I've been advertising it for a month. That t-shirt goes away this Saturday. It will be linked in the description down below. It'll actually be the first link. We'll take you right on over to my merch store. And yes, I'm saying merch store now because we have a new design up. That is the incredible Among Us Pokemon crossover. This design is great. If you're into Among Us, if you're into Pokemon, if you like the evolutions, this design is for you. It has all the evolutions laid out as crewmates from Among Us, and I think it is really adorable. There is one Ditto among the crewmates because Ditto's hidden ability is imposter, so it made sense. My wife Emily designed this. I think she knocked it out of the park. I think this design is, I don't know, I'm really blown away by it. I think it's great. It's only going to be in the store for a limited time. I don't know when exactly it will be pulled, but if you want it, go get it before it's gone. The next plug I have is, if you're not already, please consider following the second link in the description down below and going on over to my Twitch and following me there. If you enjoy what I do here, you'll probably also enjoy me live. I stream every Monday and Friday on Twitch, and right now I'm going to be streaming every Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube, which segues perfectly into my third point. If you are not already, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. A lot of my views are coming from people who aren't subscribed, and we want to change that. Thank you so much for all the support recently. Now let's just talk about Regieleki and Regidrago, or Drago. I don't know how to pronounce it. All right, so the first Pokemon we're going to talk about is Regieleki, and if we're breaking down Regieleki, I think it has a few things going for it that make it a very good Pokemon. First is obviously that blisteringly fast 200 base speed stat. Regieleki is now just the fastest Pokemon in the game. Its speed stat is in fact so high that with 0 speed investment, you can outpace things like Dragapult and Zeraora that are max speed, and with I think only 28 speed investment or something like that, depending on if you're playing level 50 or level 100, you can actually outpace max speed Pheromosa. These are really incredible milestones to hit. It means Regieleki can kind of get a lot out of its speed with very little investment. Another really high point of Regieleki is its ability Transistor, which basically acts like adaptability, but only for electric type moves. Drago has the same ability, or the same version of that ability, called Dragon's Maw, that works as adaptability for dragon type moves. So these Pokemon, while yes, they do not have deep, diverse move pools, they do not want to be using attacks other than their stabs the majority of the time. All right, so the first Regieleki set we're going to talk about is, I think, the easiest place to get to when you start building with Regieleki, and that's going to be a choice spec set. This set has 228 speed EVs, and after I was just talking about how it outpaces everything with no investment, you might be wondering why. And that is because this amount of speed investment, even if you're not a speed boosting nature, it lets you outpace speed boosting base 100 choice scarf Pokemon like Jolly, Jirachi, or Mew, or something like that, which I think is like a pretty good milestone to hit. And honestly, this set, you're not really looking for a ton of bulk. You just want to be fast. You want to hit things hard, and typically like you'll be volt switching or trying to 2-hit KO things with Rising Voltage. Speaking of Rising Voltage, it hits really hard in terrain. This set, obviously you have to pair it with Tapu Koko. If you don't want to pair it with, I mean, you could also do Pincurchin. Tapu Koko would be preferred here, but if you don't want to pair it with electric terrain, you could cut Rising Voltage for just like Thunderbolt or Thunder if you're trying to build Regieleki on a rain team. But a little side about Rising Voltage in electric terrain from Spexleki actually 2-shots a Blissey that has 0 special defense investment, which is how most Blissies are built. Most of them tend to like invest in defense, so they get just like a tiny bit more physically bulky. So knowing that this thing can actually 2-shot Blissey, that's an insane number to hit. Not many special attackers in the game can actually say that they can 2-shot Blissey with their special attacks. This is what I mean. Regieleki, it doesn't need a ton of coverage just because it's trying to push damage with its stabs. Now, mind you, this goes for both Regieleki and Regidrago. If you notice something about their stab attacks, it's that they both have immunities. I think Pokemon very carefully selected these types for that exact reason. Regieleki, you can't hit ground types, basically ever. Regidrago, you can't hit fairy types, basically ever. They do not have coverage to hit those Pokemon. Like if Regieleki got ice type attacks, I think it would be beyond absurd. So you have to build your teams in a way where Regieleki can kind of come in and either wear down the Pokemon that resist electric, or you have to build in a way where you're making sure that you have offensive checks to these ground type Pokemon before you try to clean up with Regieleki. Other than that, I think the set is insane. You just have a bunch of electric coverage. Thunderbolt is here for when you don't have electric terrain up. Again, you could run Thunder if you were playing Rain. There aren't really any other special attacking options. I think it gets around. And Ancient Power. Ancient Power doesn't make a ton of sense because the things that Ancient Power hits super effective, Regieleki is already going to be pushing more damage just with its electric type stabs. The fourth attack here is the reason we're running a minus defense nature. You could also run minus special defense, so mild or rash. I mean, you could run modest if you wanted to, if you didn't want to run a physical attack, but I think mix is probably the better way to build these Pokemon. Extreme speed might not make a ton of sense as a fourth move, but really I'm just thinking that it could have niche scenarios where you get the last 10% on specific Pokemon, like maybe really fast Scarfmons, maybe in Trick Room. I just think it might have utility. Other than that, I think you can run Explosion. You can get really fast explosions off. Like I said, the move pools aren't deep. So the next Regieleki set we're going to talk about, I'm calling Lureleki. This is a choice band Regieleki, and while it can also do a ton of damage with its stab type attacks, the real goal here is to lure in something that would check Regieleki, because presumably the idea here is that you would be playing this Regieleki also with Tapu Koko, or just, I guess, another really fast electric type Pokemon, something like Zeraora. So you're going to lure in their check to an electric type. So the Zeraoras of the world, I think this even one-shots like non-defensive Garchomps. You're just trying to lure in their checks to your Pokemon and then explode on them. Mind you, this doesn't knock out really bulky ground types like Hippowdon, but it does chunk defensive Hippowdon for something like 50 to 60%, which can be the opening you need to sort of close the door on it. I think the set is really fun. If they don't have a fantastic switch in to electric type Pokemon as is, you can just start wild charging and it's going to put out a ton of damage. This Regieleki is not long for this world. This is another set where I think you run a minus defense or a minus special defense nature, just because you can also volt switch out, and with very little special attack investment, your volt switches are going to be hitting hard. Choice Band Extreme Speed makes a lot more sense than Choice Scarf Extreme Speed, so I'm going with Extreme Speed as sort of the fourth coverage, or it's not even really coverage, but the fourth attack here. I just think that this set has a lot of potential to sort of lure in things that would be good at checking Regieleki, because again, presumably you'd be playing it with Tapu Koko because to have the electric terrain up, right? So I think this set is cool. I think it's a good, sort of like a good point for how Regieleki can be diverse, but the last set I think is sort of like the best case for Regieleki being diverse. Now the last set here is what I'm calling Support Leki. There are a lot of ways you can go about building a set like this. This is where I landed. This is an offensive screen setter. So the item is Light Clay. You have 0 speed investment because you're actively not trying to outspeed things. You're just trying to be a little bit more bulky instead. You max out the HP stat, and then you can max out either defense or special defense depending on what sort of end of the attacks you want to cover. And then you set up screens. Thunder Cage here does double duty because it not only traps something in that you can presumably set up both screens on, but it'll also chip away at a Pokemon's health at the end of each turn. Thunder Cage, if you don't know, is Regieleki's signature move. It traps a Pokemon for 4 to 5 turns and then does damage at the end of each turn. So it's sort of like a more powerful Fire Spin or a less powerful Magma Storm. The idea here is just trap something, set up screens, volt switch out. I think the set has a lot of play to it. You can do other support things, like Regieleki gets rapid spin, so you can also play sort of a rapid spin build, but you could pair it with Electro Ball for a lot of damage output. Once again, the point of these sets is to show you that I think these Pokemon are diverse in what they can accomplish, but not necessarily diverse in their move sets or their coverage. And I think that's okay. The ability transistor means you want to be clicking electric type attacks, so just click electric type attacks, right? Now we've talked about Regieleki, so let's move on to Regidrago, and I'll show you what I've come up with for this Pokemon. So Regidrago actually differs from Regieleki in a few ways. The most notable one is that Regieleki has that blisteringly fast 200 base speed. Regidrago has a very high 200 base HP. It's like their HP and speed stats are flipped. Other than that, Regidrago also has access to a reasonable amount of coverage moves, but they're all physical, which is kind of problematic. Like we just talked about Regieleki's signature move, Thunder Cage, which has, I think, niche uses. Regidrago's signature move is Dragon Energy, which is just a dragon type eruption or a dragon type water spout. It's 150 base power move that its power goes down when Regidrago's HP goes down. So you want to be outspeeding things and not taking damage and just nuking things with Dragon Energy, which is a special type attack, but all of its coverage is physical. So this Regidrago set seems like the easiest place to end up on when you start building with Regidrago. It's just a choice scarf set. We're trying to outspeed things and get off massive Dragon Energies. Other than that, we have 2 other dragon type stab moves, being Draco Meteor for when your Draco Meteors would do more damage than your dragon energies, and then we have Dragon Pulse for when you're kind of locked in and you can't really switch out and you just have to Dragon Pulse away and hope you get the game if like dragon energy would do too little damage or you don't want to take the special attack drops from Draco Meteor. The last move is Explosion here, which is why we're running mixed. Explosion could be something like Sleep Talk. I really think it's like Sleep Talk or Explosion though. Explosion lets you pick off maybe weaken things at the cost of Regidrago if your Regidrago has no more use. Sleep Talk lets it absorb sleep. I mean, its coverage is bad. Again, with this set, you kind of absolutely have to break through fairy types. Like fairy types have to be deleted before this set can really go to town. Steel types actually, I mean, they're going to take a reasonable amount of damage from switching into dragon energies over and over and over again. So steel types don't have to be deleted as much as fairy types, but fairy types have to go. I just think Scarf Regidrago, it makes a lot of sense. You're outpacing things. You can run a plus speed nature, a plus special attack nature, depending on if you want more damage output or you think you need to outspeed certain things. I just think this set actually has a lot of potential. This is probably where I would start if I was building Regidrago because it seems the most reliable. But I think the next set sort of shows that Regidrago can pivot around and be not just a special attacker with dragon energy, even though that seems to be one of the biggest selling points of it, right? So the next set is going to be, I'm calling it Dance Drago. It's just a pretty typical Dragon Dance set. Life Orb to increase your damage output, max attack, adamant, max speed here. Dragon Dance, Fire Fang, Scale Shot, Outrage. You might ask, if Regidrago actually has reasonable coverage moves, why run 2 Dragon type moves? That's because I think Scale Shot has some interesting uses here. One, it's good at breaking sashes, it's good at breaking subs and still picking up KOs. I also think that it is worth having Scale Shot because Regidrago, it has 80 base speed, so it's not guaranteed to outpace the entire metagame after just 1 Dragon Dance. Whereas if you Dragon Dance and then Scale Shot, then you're probably outpacing more things. Outrage does a monstrous amount of damage once you have a Dragon Dance boost up, and Fire Fang here is, I think, the best coverage option. You can run something like Crunch, obviously. Crunch, I just don't think it offers you enough. It doesn't really get you around the things that are resisting your dragon type stabs. Fire Fang makes sure you can hit steel types, which seems like a good switch into Regidrago, but on top of hitting steel types, it actually gives you a move to hit fairy types for neutral damage, whereas its other coverage options being Crunch and Hammer Arm don't, even though Hammer Arm would be better at breaking through steel. So I think Fire Fang is where you want to be here. This is like a pretty standard Dragon Dance set. Again, you'd want to make sure that fairies are at least weakened. Like, you don't have to delete them, but they need to be weak before you start Dragon Dancing up with this set. And steel types, I think you can kind of play, like, you want them chipped down obviously, but the end goal with this set is just to get in and Dragon Dance. Now, the last Regidrago set I have is actually, this is kind of my draft league brain ticking here. This is not a set you would run on ladder, or it's not a set you would run in VGC. Like, out of all the sets we've talked about here, I think Scarf Drago could be a VGC set. I think you could also run Specs Drago with speed control, like just switch out the Scarf for Specs and then run it alongside like a Tailwind Abuser, or even Trick Room if you want to like just make it super negative speed. The Specs Lucky set, I think you could play in doubles. You could also play a physical Lucky set in doubles. The thing here is that this Regidrago set, you're probably not going to play it in any format besides draft, because you would need to know that your opponent doesn't have great answers to Regidrago before you just ran this set, or you would have to have a team that's really good at supporting it. So this set is Dragon Claw, Dragon Dance, Sleep Talk, Rest. So the whole point here is to bring this in the very late game when all of their Regidrago checks, really fairy types here, like steel types, I guess you can get around if you get to +6, but fairy types have to go because you cannot touch them. This is a set that I'm trying to abuse Regidrago's massive HP stat with, right? So we're max HP, you can run max defense, max special defense, it doesn't really matter. Your Dragon Claws are still gonna hit pretty hard after Dragon Dance boost without investment, just because of Dragon's Maw. Dragon's Maw and Transistor are fantastic abilities, but yeah. This set, fairies have to be deleted. You just Dragon Dance up, you rest whenever you get low, you Sleep Talk and either start chipping things down with Dragon Claw or get more Dragon Dance boosts. I think it's fun. I think this set has viability. I think that it actually could go a long way towards winning games as long as you made sure to build your team in a way where you were breaking fairy types down. You have to kill fairy types for Regidrago to be good. You have to kill ground types for Regieleki to be good. And I think that's kind of the takeaway here. Like, to wrap this video up, I think what I want to say here is that just because these Pokemon don't have diverse move pools, that doesn't make them bad. I think that makes you have to sort of like plan around that inside building. You have to build teams around these Pokemon that can support their strengths. I think these Pokemon are very strong. I don't think these Pokemon are about to dominate the OU metagame. I don't think these are going to be bannable in draft leagues, and I don't think these are going to tear up the VGC format. I do think that these Pokemon are good in those formats though. I think as long as you're building in a way to support the strengths of these Pokemon, the juice might be worth the squeeze for them. But hey, maybe I'm completely wrong here. Either way, if you have Regieleki and Regidrago sets that you think are fantastic, leave them in the comment section down below. That way the community can kind of come together and see how good these Pokemon can be. Let me know which of these sets that I'm proposing to you today is your favorite. Let me know if you think they're all awful. Just let me know what you think of Regieleki and Regidrago as a whole. But that's it. That is the video. I've given you 3 sets for Regieleki and 3 sets for Regidrago. These are sort of jumping off points to kind of get you thinking creatively about the Pokemon. Take them and run. Be creative, my friends. I think that these Pokemon could go a very long way. Please remember the plugs at the beginning of the video. Subscribe if you're new here. Like the video if you enjoy content like this. Check out the t-shirts. They're linked in the description down below. Follow me on Twitch, and also a final plug, follow me on Twitter. It would mean the absolute most, and that's how you keep up with me. That's it though. My name's Vivid. I'm kind of done here and I have to leave. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Oh, you made it to the end of the video. That's dope. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see more from me and make it to the end of those videos, there will be a video here and a video here. This one is a video that I think is really good, and this is what YouTube recommends. So you should watch one of them. Okay, thanks.